So last classes we discussed that the philosophy of the pig, why you are calling as a pig, right? And there is a philosophy that the pig lives anywhere, right? The philosophy that the pig eat anything, the pig can fly, okay? Pig fly means what? The pig can move fastly, that's mean. And then a pig as a domestic animal. So based on this philosophy, this Apache guys, they are given name as a pig only, okay? Now we are going to discuss important architecture of the pig, okay? How the pig's data flows, okay? How data flows inside the pig, that's going to describe with the help of pig architecture. So this is a pig architecture. If you see the pig architectures, we have the following important components. The first one is Piglet scripts, okay? We are going to write the scripts, okay? So if you want to write the Piglet scripts, you should know the Pig Latin language. So if you know the Pig Latin language, we can write the Pig Latin scripts, okay? So these Pig Latin scripts can be written, okay, with the help of, we can write with the help of Pig Latin languages, and you can use Grand Shell, okay, and Apache Pig Server. It means that the programmers can use these Grand Shells to write the series of command or to write the scripts, okay? So if you want to write the scripts, if you want to write the command, we have to use the Grand Shell, or you can also use the Apache Pig Server. Okay, so basically they use what? They use the Grand Shell. So this Grand Shell, through this only what happens, they are going to interact, they are going to write a series of scripts, and they can execute many commands, okay? Suppose if you are writing the scripts, okay, this is passed to the parser, because the parser is going to check whether the script is syntactically correct or not correct, okay? It performs the process of parsing. The parsing process will going to be take place with the help of the parser, which can check whether the given script is syntactically correct or not correct. So after doing parsing, the parsers will generate the DAG, which is called as directed acyclic graph. Directed acyclic graph. I think you have know about what is meaning of directed acyclic graph, which having the node and which is having the edges also. So this parsers will going to produce output as a DAG, which is called as directed acyclic graph. In directed acyclic graph, we have the node and edges, okay? This node will reflect the operators. We are going to use different types of operators, okay? So this operators is nothing but you can call as the node, and this edge you will going to say about data flows, how data is flows, okay? So the edge represent the data flows, the node represent the different types of operators, or you can say relational operators, right? So node will reflect the operators, and here the edges represent what? It represent the data flows, okay? So here the output of the parser is what? The output of the parser is DAG, okay? And this DAG is given to the optimizers, which is going to optimize the code, okay? The code will be optimized, but with the help of the optimizer. This optimizer is going to improve the performance of the code. So whatever scripting you're going to write, that can be optimized in order to improve the performance. So here these programmers should not worry about optimizations, okay? The optimizations can be taken care by the optimizers, okay? And then you're going to give compilers. What compilers should do? It takes as an output of this optimizers, it will given to the compilers. The compilers will convert into the series of MapReduce jobs, okay? Because compiler is a translator. You know that compiler is what? It is translator. So it will translate the script into the MapReduce jobs. It convert the script into the MapReduce jobs. That can be done by the compilers. Here the compilers will going to play a very vital roles to convert the script into the MapReduce jobs, okay? And that is given to the execution engine. So here we are giving the output of the compilers to the execution engines, and execution engines will going to perform all the MapReduce tasks, okay? The MapReduce tasks will be performed by the execution engines on the Hadoop, okay? Because on the Hadoop only we have a data, right? Where is data is stored? Data is stored basically on Hadoop distributed file systems. So that can be accessed and got processed by the pig. Okay, so here this is called as the Hadoop system. So finally, through MapReduce only, we are going to interact to the Hadoop. Without MapReduce, it is not possible to interact with the Hadoop clusters. Okay, so here what happens, whatever the scripts you're going to write, that script must be converted into the series of MapReduce tasks. But in order to interact to the Hadoop clusters. Okay, so this is a pig architecture, right? So hope you understand the meaning of the pig Latin scripts, which can be written with the help of pig Latin languages. We can interact through the ground shell and the pig server, right? To write to execute the command or to execute the scripts, you have to interact to the ground shell and the pig server. So whatever scripts you're going to write, you have to give to the parser. The parser is going to convert into the DAG, which is called directly acyclic graph. It give to the optimizers. It is going to optimize the code. The optimization output is given to the compilers, which is going to translate into the series of MapReduce jobs. Then it is given to the execution engines. The execution engines will take care of MapReduce task only. Okay, and this is the Hadoop. So through MapReduce only, we are going to interact to the Hadoop clusters. Okay, so this is a very beautiful architecture of the architecture of the pig. Now you're going to see the data models in pig. Okay, how the data will be look like inside the pig. We have a data models inside the pig. If you see the data model types, we have an atom. What is atom? A single element of data is called as atom. A single element of data is called as atom. Okay, then we have tuples, a sequence of field. A sequence of field that can be any of the data type. A sequence of field is called as what? Is called as tuple. The sequence of field is going to call as a tuple. Okay, you see, and what is big? A collection of tuples is called as what? Is called as the peg. Okay, and what is map? The map will have the key value pairs. Okay, let me give you some example for you. Suppose we have a table like this. Suppose if you have a table for your suppose we have a tables. Okay, and these tables will contain like this. Suppose we have some data. You say we have the ID. Okay, we have the name. Okay, we have the age. The single element of data, which is called as what? Which is called as, if a single element of data is going to call as what? It is going to call as an atom. So if you see here, if I am taking the name, suppose if I am taking the name Rahul, okay, the Rahul is a single element. So it is, I am going to call as what? I am going to call as an atom. Okay, this tuple means what? A sequence of field that can be any of the data types. A sequence of fields we have. Okay, suppose if I am taking here, if I am taking Avi, okay, Avi, it is a string data type. Then we have, I am taking age is how much? Suppose age I am taking the 14. Okay, so this is going to call as what? This is going to call as tuple. Tuple means what? A sequence of field. Okay, a sequence of field that is going to call as a tuple. Okay, like this. Okay, so how to represent the tuples? We can represent tuples in this way only, right? You have to write the open bracket. Within that you have to specify the data and its types. Okay, so this is going to call as what? Call as the tuple. And what is bag? Bag is nothing but collection of the tuple is going to call as bag. So you see this table, this complete table I am going to call as what? I am going to call as the bag. I am going to call as what? I am going to call as a bag. Okay, so bag nothing but a relation is also called as what? Bag. Relation also called as what? Bag. This means complete table I am going to call as what? The bag. Okay, so here this bag is what? This bag is what? The bag is represented by, by what? By here this curly bracket. This curly bracket means what? It's going to represent with the help of curly bracket. Okay, so you can use curly bracket what? To represent the bag. Okay, so what is bag here? The bag is nothing but we have the collection of tuples. You see, this is one tuples, this is one tuples, this is one tuples. Okay, so it is what? It is a collection of the tuples. That is going to call as the bag. So simply you can call as the relation is also called as what? The bag. Okay, actually in the terms of SQL, MySQL, you call it relation, that is tables. Here you can also call it the bag. Then we have the map. What is map? The map is going to represent the key value pairs. What is going to represent? The key value pairs, right? See, when you want to write the map always contain the key value pairs here. So you're going to use the square bracket to represent the key for the data models. So what I'm going to use here is square bracket I'm using, and this map contains the key value pairs. Okay, key value, it means we have a key and what? We have a value. Okay, this is the representation of the map. It contains the key and also what? It contains the value, which is called as the key value pairs. Okay, now for example, if you see the map here, I can write, okay, I can write, suppose I am writing name, suppose name is what? Ravi, name is Ravi, I am writing, and I am writing age. Okay, the age is suppose 35, age is how? Suppose how? 35. So here you can say this Ravi is a name I can call as key. This Ravi as the age, that is 35, what I can call as value. So in the pig, we can represent your data which consists of the following types. Which consist of the following components. You can say atom is single element. The single element of data is called as atom. If I say Hadoop only, suppose example Hadoop, if I am telling the Hadoop, I can call as what? I can call as an atom, single element. The single element of data is going to call as atom. What is tuples? A sequence of field, which is going to call as a tuple. And what is bag? A collection of tuple is going to call as the bag. And what is map? The map will have the key value pairs, which is having the key value pair, that is going to call as map. So here we have 4 basic types of data models. What are 4 basic types? We have atom, we have the tuple, we have the bag, and we have the map. You're going to see data types in Pigletin. So you have simple data types. In simple data types, we have just like normal data types. We have integers. Okay, for the whole numbers, you can write as integers. For long, it's for large whole numbers. You can use as a long. We have a float for precisions, for decimal numbers. We have to use for the double. Okay, use doubles. Then we have a character array for the text string. Then we have the byte array for the row bytes. Then we have dead time for the dead time, and for boolean, which can be expressed in the terms of true or false. Okay, so this is called as what data types? It is called as simple data types, which can be used in Pigletin. In Pigletins, we can use this as a what data types? As a simple data types. And then we have complex data types. In complex data types, you are going to see as a tuple. The tuple is going to call as a complex data type. What is tuple? An ordered set of field. So how you can represent the tuples? Within this bracket, we have to represent the tuples. Okay, this 2, 3 is going to call as what? Is going to call as tuples. It is nothing but it is a sequence of field, or it is ordered set of field, which is called as tuples. Then we have the bag. What is a bag? A collection of tuple is going to call as the bag. So you have to write curly bracket. Within the curly brackets, we can write, right? You can write as what? Collection of the tuples is going to call as what? The bag. So this is one tuple, this is one tuples, and if you make collection of the tuples, that is going to call as bag. Okay. Then we have map. What is map? You are going to use key value pairs for the map. So this is what? How to represent key value pairs? We have to use the hash. You have to use the hash. Already I use, right? Key value pair means what? I'm going to write the key, means if I'm going to write the hash, okay, I'm writing the name. Okay, name is what? Suppose name is Ravi, right? Then I'm going to write again hash. Okay, what I'm going to write? The age. Suppose age is what? 35. Okay, this way you can represent the map. That is, map will be represented in the terms of key value pairs only. Okay, so these are the data types in Pigletin. We have a simple data types and also we have the complex data types. Now we're going to see the operators in Pig Latin. So these are the basic operators we know. These are arithmetic operators we have, like we can perform addition, subtraction, multiplications, okay, divisions, modulo operations. These are all the arithmetic operations we have. We have comparison operators, that is equal operators, not equal to, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to. These are all the basic comparison operators that can be used, and these are null or is not null, okay, whether the value is null or not null. Then we have the Boolean operators like AND, OR, and NOT. Okay, so these are some of the operators which can be used in Pig Latins. Okay, operators in Pig Latins. Now we can see running with the pig. Okay, how we can run the pig? We can run the pig in two ways. How we can run the pig? We can run the pig in two ways. One is called as interactive mode. What mode? It is called as interactive mode. Okay, interactive mode. It means that suppose if I'm writing here Gunt, okay, I'm writing the Gunt because Gunt is a cell. Through that only you are going to write the command and you're going to write the scripts Gunt. Okay, and here I'm writing the first line. Okay, after that I'm going to write the second line. Okay, after that what I'm doing, I'm going to write the third line. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to write the third line and fourth line and so on. It means that we are going to write the command or script line by line. That is going to call as what? Interactive mode. In interactive mode, you just open the Gunt cell, and after opening the Gunt cell, we can write the script line by line. That is called as what mode? It is called as interactive mode. So you're going to see how interactive mode is going to work with some examples so that it will be very clear to you. Next, what we have batch mode. What is basic difference between interactive mode and batch mode? In interactive mode, we are writing line by line, and you're going to run these scripts. That is what mode? Interactive mode. In batch mode, the same thing what I'm doing is that I'm going to write a script first. I'm going to write as a script first. I'm writing the script, and once I write the script, what happens? I'm going to create a file. I'm going to create as a whole file. It means I'm going to make a batches of all the command and all the statement, whatever scripts I'm going to write, I make as one batch. I make it just like a batch processing. Okay, so I'm going to make a name. I'm going to give the name of the file. What I'm going to do? I'm going to give the name of the file. Suppose the name of the file is what? If I'm going to write the 4th year CAC.pig, what extension I'm going to use? I'm going to use what extension? I'm going to use the extension called as .pig and .pig. So this complete file I'm going to run at a single time. At single time only I'm going to run. So if you are very expert in pig, then you can go for which mode? You can go for batch mode. No need to write line by line. First you have to write your program, write your script, make as a file. What file you can make? You make as a file dot extension. What is dot extension? It should be what extension? You should put as a .pig as extensions. Okay, give file .pig, and then you're going to save this file, and then you can run this file. So it means that here, if you are very expert in pig, then you can use what processing? Batch mode processing. In batch mode processing, we are going to create the script file using .pig, and then you're going to run completely. You're going to run completely. That is called as what? The batch mode. You are not going to interrupt or line by line. You're not going to see line by line, but as a whole I'm writing the program, whole I'm writing the logic, whole I'm writing the scripts, and then what? I'm going to save into a file, and then I'm going to run it. That is going to call as what? The batch mode. That is going to call as what? The batch mode. So we have two modes available. We can, if you are very new to the pig, I recommend to follow what mode? Interactive mode. And if you are very expert in the pig, then I can recommend you to follow what? To follow the batch mode. Okay, it depends on your expertise, how you are good in your Pig Latin languages. Okay, so if you are very good in Pig Latin, if you have very expert in Pig Latin, go for batch mode and create a file, run it, and you can process it. But if you are very new, then you have to write line by line. You have to write line by line, and you can run the scripts. Okay, so you have two modes available: interactive mode and batch mode. So here, what is interactive mode? Already I discussed about the interactive mode. We have to write line by line. And how we going to write line by line? We have to use what cell? We have to use the grant cell. What is the cell you're going to use? The grant cell will be required. So grant cell will be required for both the mode. Either you can use interactive mode or batch mode. We have to use what? You have to use the grant cell, because without grant cell it is not possible to write any scripts. Okay, if you want to write a script, you must use the grant cell in the pig. Okay, the grant cell will be required. So either it's interactive mode or batch mode, we need to have the grant cell. So batch mode means in this mode we can run as a script file having .pig extension, right? So you have a file name, and file name, so for what extension? .pig extension. So you are going to create a complete file, and that complete file you are going to run as what? As a batch mode. Okay, so we have two important mode is available to run the pig. Now you are going to see the execution mode, the execution mode of the pig. The pig can be executed in two modes. Okay, one mode is going to call as a local mode, and the second mode, which is called what mode? The may produce mode. Local mode means what? We are going to operate on local file system. What system? Called as local file system. Local file system. Local file system, LFS, local file system. Okay, it means that we are going to read data from local file system. We are going to read data from local file system. We can transform this data from local file system. We can transform, or you can process the data in local file systems. Okay, after transform, you can store result into local file systems. It means this is allowed only for local file systems. There is no connections with Hadoop. Hadoop is totally detached local file systems. We are not talking about the Hadoop. We are taking the file from Linux systems. We are reading the file from the Linux systems. We are doing some transformations and storing result back to the Linux system. This kind of mode is called as local mode system, local mode. Locally, we are going to take data from Linux system machine, process them and store them. You may ask question again, if it's so, then why you are using local mode? Because local mode is not going to give any productions. It is not going to interact with the Hadoop. So if there is no communication with the Hadoop, then why you have to use local mode? There is no use of local mode, right? Because we need to process data, you need to interact with the Hadoop, right? You need to get result from the Hadoop, right? You want to do some kind of processing on the Hadoop, and for that local mode is definitely not useful. Then my question is that, then why use local mode? This local mode is basically used for testing purpose. What purpose? For testing. Call as what? Call as what? Testing. What purpose? Testing purpose. Suppose if you want to test data, how the result will be, how you getting the results, how you processing the data, how you reading the data. If you want to perform the testing operations, then local mode will be recommended. What recommended? Then you can use the local mode only. So this will allow you to perform operations only for testing purpose, only for testing operations, nothing else, because it's not going to give any kind of production. We are not going to find any kind of productions. The second is, so how are you going to write local mode? This local mode can be, if you want to enter it to the grant cell, first you have to specify the syntax. I can write pig, okay, give a space hyphen, then you write X, then what you write? We have to write local. We have to write local. So if you want to run your Piglet scripts in a local mode, then you have to use this command only. Okay, pig, then a space, then X, then you have to write local. This allow you that we enter into which mode? We enter into the local mode. And if you hit enter, then only what happens? We are going to the ground cell. Where you are going? You are going into the ground cell, and then here we can write all of your pig command or pig scripts. Okay, so this local mode is basically used for testing purpose. Now my question is that if you want to do production, it means you want to interact to the Hadoop. You want to read data from the Hadoop file systems. Read data from the Hadoop file systems, process data from Hadoop file system, store result back to the Hadoop. For this only, we have to use second mode, which is called what mode? MapReduce mode. So this MapReduce mode will allow you to interact directly to the Hadoop. You can access data from the Hadoop, process data, and then store result back to the Hadoop. If you want to perform this kind of development productions, you must use what? MapReduce mode. This MapReduce mode will allow you to access data from the Hadoop file systems, to process data from Hadoop file system, store data back to the Hadoop, and for that you have to use what? MapReduce mode only. And to use MapReduce mode, again you have to write this syntax. What syntax you are going to write? You have to write this syntax. Must have to write this syntax. That syntax nothing but you have to write the pig, like pig, give a space, then write X, okay, and you have to write simply MapReduce. What you have to write? Simply MapReduce. Okay, this will take what? This will take into the MapReduce Hadoop file systems. And if you hit enter, then you are going to have what? You are going to have a ground cell. You enter into the ground cell, and you can write your script and the command. So there is two ways of getting into MapReduce mode. One is you can write this command pig. We have to give a space -x, a space MapReduce. A second thing is that directly you can write what? Directly you can write pig. That's all. If I write pig, if I enter it and hit it, what directly I am going to MapReduce mode. Okay. So what you understand, if I am going to write only pig or entering it and hit it, it means I am going to where? I am going to directly to MapReduce mode. So by default the pig will allow you to enter into MapReduce mode only. Okay, the pig allowed to enter which mode? MapReduce mode only. If you want to enter into local mode, you must specify the command pig-x local. It means you are telling to the pig that I am going to work on the local file system. Or if you don't want to tell anything to the pig, if you write pig, if hit enter, directly going to interact to the Hadoop clusters. You are going to access the Hadoop file systems. Okay, so these are two modes available here in execution modes of the pig. Now I want to explain this one with some example so that we can have more clarifications. Okay, this code is somewhat complicated. We will see this code one by one, because for example I am taking this this is a code. Okay, so what I am doing here is that to run on local mode, right? If you want to run your local mode, what you have to do? We have to use this command. It's compulsory, it's mandatory. Without this, we are not going to enter into where? You are not going to enter into the grunt cell. You must enter this command. Okay, so what I am entering is that I am entering pig space -x local. This means you are going to access local file systems. You are going to access data which is available in a Linux systems. Okay, you're going to enter into the Linux systems and going to access data which is present in the Linux system. So you must specify this one. After that, what happens if you enter this command, if you hit it, we go to the grunt cell. It means directly going to the grunt cells. And here I written some of the scripts are written. This dividends is nothing but it's going to call relation, just like a table, right? You have a table, you can call it relation, you can call it a bag, just like a bag. Okay, relations. This is the relations we have, and this is called as operator. What operator using? You're using operator called as load operator. So what is going to load me? This is I'm going to have a file or data we have. What is data name? In this file we have many datas. That is a New York Exchange data we have. Opening information, closing information, high values, low values. We have many columns will be there in this file, and this file name is what? New York Exchange dividends. Okay, as it has the following column, I can call it field. It has the following field. What is field is present in this data? Okay, in this file, how many fields are there? We have exchange is one field, we have symbol is one field, we have date is one field, we have dividend is one field. These are the fields available in this data. In this data or in this file, you can find the following fields. The following fields are available. If this file contains the following fields: information about the exchange, information about the symbols, okay, information about date, in which date the exchange is going up, down, then dividends, all information will be available. Okay, so this is your file which is having the following columns. Okay, now this one you're going to load into this relation, means into this table. You're going to load this data in this table. So in these tables you're going to load by using what operator? By using the load operators you are using. So this is one relation we have. This is one relations. Okay, now we have another relation I can call as. Another relation is going to call as what? The group relation. I have the group relation. So this group relation, what it will do? Grouped dividends by symbol. So in this table we have a symbols, okay, symbols of many exchanges, that is going to be grouped by which operators? We have called as group operators will be there. What happens? So grouped dividends. Okay, so what are you going to group it? Dividends by symbols. By symbols we are going to group the dividends. Okay, that you're going to perform this operation. So in this tables we have the grouping of dividends based on the symbol representation. Then we are going to find the average. Okay, you're going to find the average. Okay, so here what are you doing? You're going to calculate the average, and the result you're going to store into which relation? We have other relation going to call as average relations. Okay, so we see this is one relation, this is one relation, and this is one relation. This relation store what? This relation stores the average. Okay, so how to find average? For each grouped, generate a group over. So for each group, okay, we have to what? We have to find the average. You have to find the average. So where you can find the average? Dividends dot dividend. Okay, so dividends is what? It is the relation names. And what you want to find the average? You have to find the average for dividend. You have to find the average for the dividend. Okay, and this result you're going to store into this average relations. Okay, so these are the scripts you are written. These are the scripts you are written. Now my question is that if write up to this, then nothing will happen in the pig, because the pig is a lazy operator. It is a lazy animal. You see, behavior of pig is lazy animal. Okay, it is not going to perform anything up to this. Simply you are giving instruction, do this one, do this one, do this one, do this one. You are passing only the instructions. Okay, so when this instruction is going to be executed, when you're going to give this command, very important command, which is called as dump. Called as what? Dump. Dump, just like in Hive, how you're writing? Select star, okay, from table. Table name if you are writing. Suppose you're writing the table name. This is you're writing what? You are writing in Hive. Okay, if you want to fire the queries, you're writing into the Hive. But you are not following any SQL queries in case of Pig. So this can be replaced what? Replaced by what? Replaced by dump. Dump. It means whatever the information is available in this every relation, that information will be projected. That information will be projected to the screen. You can see the output on the screen. Okay, it means the average of dividend we can see on the screen. You can see on the screen. Okay, we'll see for each. This for each also an operator which can be used in Pig. For each, because for each operators will going to work on the rows, and you are going to perform the operation of the average, and getting result into what? Getting result stored into this average relations. So here, if we provide dump average, then only the instructions, the result can be shown on the screen until there is no any other process. You cannot find the result unless we have to write these instructions. So this dump, what dump will do? The dump will process your script line by line. Dump average means it go to the average. In average, what is there? Group is there. The group will go to the group relations. Then in group, what is there? We have what? We have the dividends, right? Then what? It go to the dividends. It means data flow like this. This is called data flows. Okay, if you write average, then it finds where is average? Average is here. Then where is grouped? Group is here. It go to the here group. Then in group, what is you find? You want to find dividends. Then what? It go to the dividends. It go to dividends. It means that here data flows in this way only. And after that, what happens is going to show results to you. It means this Pig is not going to perform any storage. It is not going to do any kind of storage. Okay, just taking the data, whatever data we have in this data, you taking this data, and then you doing some processing based on the script. The processing will going to happen based on the script. It means you are going to calculate the average, and then you are going to display the result of the average on the screen by using what? By using what command? Or by using what command? Dump. Dump is a very effective command, a very effective operator. You can call it operator. So if you give dump average, it means that we are telling the Pig, Mr. Pig, please display result to me, but don't store the result. Please don't store result, but you just give me the result of my scripts. I want result only. So here what happens, if you give this one, then it will convert into the series of MapReduce job. It converts into the MapReduce job or MapReduce programs. And then processing will take place, and after processing, what happens? The result will display on your screen. Only you can get the results, but no, you cannot find this data in your Pig. Just it will display the result only. Okay. So here, what you're doing is that you're writing what? You're writing in which mode? You are in local file systems. You are in local file system, taking data from the Linux systems. Then you are doing the processing and just displaying the result only. So this is happening in the local mode. Now here you see the difference. What is the use of the dump operators? The dump operators will going to dump the output. It will project the output on the screen. So on the screen we can see only the output. That's it. That's all. But you cannot find the information of this or processing of that data into the Pig. It's not going to store. So suppose if you want to store the data, then we have to use other command for the storage. Okay, suppose I am using the same thing, that I am using what is the relation name? Relation name is dividends. So in that what you are going to load? You are going to load this file. This file can be loaded, which is having the which is having the 4 field. What fields we have? Exchange, symbol, date, dividends. Then I'm going to do I'm having another relation, going to call it group relation. In this, what I'm doing is that I'm going to do group by what? By symbol. By symbols, I'm going to do the grouping. And then I'm going to find the average. For each row, I'm going to find the average by using these functions called average functions. And I'm taking the average from which relation? From relation dividends, because dividends having these 4 fields. But I want to find the average of dividend. This average I want to find, because this column only I want to find the average of this field. I want to find the average of this column. So I'm going to write dividends dot dividends. So you're getting the average. Now here what I'm doing, I'm storing this result into my local file systems. It means I'm not at all displaying the results on the screen, but I can store into my local file system. So if you want to store into local file system, we have to use operator called as what operator? A store operator. What operator? A store operators. This is called operator? A store operators. So these store operators will going to store the result. What the result is? Average into one folder. So you have to create a folder. What is the folder name is? Bignan family. It means Bignan family folders will be created. It will be created, and the result of this average will be what? Will be stored into this Bignan family. Okay. Now your result is available in the local file system. Okay. Local file system in the folder name called as Bignan family. So in the Bignan family, we can go to Bignan family. Okay, if you just type the command ls, you can find Bignan family. Go to Bignan family, then go to this folder cd Bignan family. Okay, Bignan family. Then you have to put ls. You have to find the data. You can get the data. Okay, it means here difference. What is the difference between store and dump? Dump means it is not going to store the result, but it will show the output on the screen. This operator is what operator? It is a dump operator. What is store operators? It will going to store the result into some folder which you are going to create it. Okay, so you're going to store in which folder? Bignan family is name of the folder. Here you can find the result. Okay, so in this way, what happens in local file systems? Your scripts are going to be executed here. So when you're going to fire this, query, when you're going to fire this script, what happens? This will going to be converted into the MapReduce task. Okay, so this is called as a local file system. Now we're going to see about the how to write scripts in batch mode. Okay, how to write scripts in the batch mode. I told you that already we have a file name, right? We have what name? We have a file name. First you have to create the file name. It's called as vignancac.pig. In this file name, we have to write your scripts. Write your scripts in this file name. So this is a file name dot extension. What is extension here? The extension should be pig. Pig is what? Pig is the extension. So you have to write dot pig. And after that, what happens? You have to run this command to execute this file. You have to run this one. How to execute this file? We have to write vi pig -x local, because you're running which system? You're running local file systems. So this is for what? This indicate it's the local file system, and you have to give the file name. What is file name is given? vignancac.pig. So if you fire this, what happens? In a single shot, in a single file, we can get the results. Okay, so this will save you time for those people who have very expert in the pig, very expert in Pigletin. Okay, so this is called as what? This is called as the batch. Which mode? It is going to call as what mode? It is going to call as the batch mode. Now you're going to see about the MapReduce mode. Okay, so what is MapReduce mode? Mode means we are going to interact to the Hadoop. We are going to interact to the SDFS directly, and for that you have to use what mode? We have to use the MapReduce mode. So for MapReduce mode, you have to use this syntax. What syntax you have to use? Here you have to use what? You have to use pig. It should be pig, then hyphen, then write X, then what you have to write? We have to write the MapReduce. Okay, it's not pig, it's a pig. Okay, pig, then you have to write the space -X MapReduce. This will take you into which? This will take you into the MapReduce mode, or you can simply type pig. You can simply type pig and hit enter. So if you simply type pig means what? It means that you are going to which mode? You are going to the MapReduce mode only. So as I told earlier that by default the pig will allow you to enter into the MapReduce mode only. So directly you can go to which mode? You can go to the MapReduce mode only. Now see the difference between the local file systems and MapReduce or Hadoop file systems. Here we have to write what? You have to write the pig. Pig you have to write. It means that we are telling to the pig that I am going to which mode? I am going to the MapReduce mode. It means you are going to interact to the Hadoop systems. You are going to interact to the Hadoop file systems. You are going to interact to the Hadoop distributed file systems. Then once you enter it, once you written it, then please enter it. Just make it enter. After entering, what happens? You are going to which cell? You are going to the grant cell. So I written the same queries here. I am written the same queries here, but we have some difference. What difference means that in this case of the Hadoop local file systems, in the Hadoop file systems, we have to specify the location of your file, location of your data, where data is located. See the locations you have to specify. In the case of Hadoop distributed file systems. Okay. So you are going to specify the location. This file will be located where? In the user Cloudera, and this is your file. This is your file. Okay. This file is having how much field do we have? We have the 4 field: exchange, symbol, date, and dividend is the 4 fields. So you must specify the locations, that where your file is located in a Hadoop. You must know the location. So you have to specify location right in the case of the MapReduce mode. Okay. And similarly, if you want to store the result of this one after doing some transformation, after doing some kind of computations, then you have to, if you want to store result also, you have to specify the location. Okay, where you are going to store the results, you have to write the store. Okay, store the result of dividends, right? Suppose store dividends into user Cloudera Bignan CAC. Bignan CAC is the name of the folder. Okay, it means this file is what? This file is stored into relation, or relation called as dividends. So in dividends is a relation, or it is a kind of the relation where you can find all the data of the new exchange dividends. So you can find all the data here. Okay, and later what I am doing? Later what I am doing is that I am going to transfer this data into the folder called as what folder name? Bignan CAC is the name of the folder. Okay, so I am just doing some importing of my data, importing of my file. I am taking this as a data, as a file, and this file I am going to transfer into a relation which is called as dividends. Is a relation, means it have the data. Okay, dividends having the data. How I am going to transfer this one? Using with the help of what operator? With the help of load operators. So I am using load operators, and by using load operators I am just going to transfer this file to dividends. Now again I want to shift my data from dividends to some folder in Hadoop, some folders into Hadoop. I want to store the data which is present in dividends where into some folder in Hadoop. Because you see in Hadoop we have you can create folder also. Create a folder also, and you can transfer data into this folder. So here what I am doing is that I am using call as operator name store, and what I am going to do, dividends is what is my name of the relation. Okay, so I am storing the relations into where? Into which folder? Bignan CAC folder. It means the data of this one I am going to store into the relations. Okay, so this is call as the MapReduce mode. In MapReduce mode you must specify the location, okay, where you're going to store the data, from where you're going to access the data. The location must specify in case of MapReduce mode. Here, pig load data with or without schema is very interesting thing. I told earlier that for the pig, the schema is not mandatory. Optionally, we can use as a schema also. For me, no problem. If you give me a schema as a pig, I am happy. If you not give me a schema also, I am happy. So pig can load data with or without schema. So we're going to see some scenarios how it happening with some real-time example. Now I am taking this. I'm running under which mode? I'm running under which mode? Local mode. It means I'm in local file systems. Okay, and I'm taking the same. Script. What is relation here? Dividends is what? Is the name of the relation. It is name of the relation. It is name of relation. You can say beg, name of the relation. In this relation, what data we have? We have data of New York Exchange dividends, which is having the following field. And in this field, I am specifying the data type. For exchange, what data types we have? Character array. For symbol, what data types we have? Character array. For date, what data types we have? Character array. And for dividends, what data types we have? Float. It means I am giving schema. I am giving the structure. I am giving schema here. It means here schema is defined. Schema is defined. Now here, if you write describe dividends, suppose if you give this syntax, describe what is dividends, what dividends is what? It is the name of the relation. It is name of the relations. If you give describe dividends, then what you're going to get? You're going to get this following. It means it's going to give only schema. It's going to provide only the schema. It means dividends, that is exchange. What is the data types of the exchange is character array. What is the data types of the symbol is character array. What is data types of the date is what? Character array. And what is data types of the, I think for dividends is what? Dividends is the float. It means here only symbol is what data types? Character array. That is what? Character array. So you have written 2 times, only 1 times is enough. And what is dividends? Dividends is equal to float. It means if you describe dividends, okay, it will give you schema. Schema is found. We have an schema for this. Schema is already defined. So describe dividends is a syntax. Dividends is a relations. If you give this one, we can find schema. You can find the schema. Now here what is there? The same thing I took here. Here I took schema, isn't it? But here I have no schema. Schema is there? Schema is not there. So you may ask questions. Here, sir, no schema is there. Here schema is there. But you are loading this file into this dividends, into this relation. That is also working. I have no objection. Here also we have the same file name New York Exchange dividends. Okay, we have the same file called as dividends, New York Exchange dividends, and you are going to load here. You are going to load into which relation? Called dividends relation. Here also loading is possible without any schema. Pig has no problem. If you want to define a schema, the pig never have objections that you cannot load the file. You can load this data into here, into this relation called as what? Called as what? Dividends. In this relation, you can load the data without schema also. So here, now if I am going to write describe dividends like this, what is your, what kind of reply you will give? What you are going to get here? If I describe dividends, it will say schema is unknown. It means we have no schema here. See what you are going to say? You are going to say schema for dividend is unknown. For this one, there is no schema because here there is no schema is defined. Even though it is possible to load file into that relation. Now we take this example. I am taking the same example, and you see this script, how it's written. It's very interesting to understand. I am taking a relation called as dividends. This is my name of the relation I am having. Is equal to load. I am loading the file. I am loading this data into this relation. What is relation name is called as what? Dividends. Then I am going to perform some operation on this. I am doing some operations. And result of the operation going to store into where? Is going to store into another relation. So everything is happening in relation only. So I am going to store into another relations. What I am doing is that for each dividends, it means for each relations, generate $7. Generate $7. Now what is $7? What is meaning of $7? You see, in pig, this $0 represent the first column. It represents what? The first column. This $1 what? This $1 represent the second column. This $3 what? This $3 represent the third column, like this. So you are going to start from indexing 0. So $0 means the first column or the first field. $1 means the first column or the first field. $3 means the first columns or the first field. Like this, you are going to specify. Is going to indicate in such way only. So $0 means the first column. In that way, we have to give indications. Now here, for each dividends, means the relations, generate $7. $7 means what? We are talking about 8 columns. Which column? 8 column. Number 8 column. Number 8 field. It means this table or this data will have, this file will have many columns. These have many columns. So you are going to generate what? You are going talking about the 8 column. So we have like this, we have a table. In this table we have which column? We are taking the 8 column. In 8 columns we have a data. So this data you will take. And what? Divide by 1000. You make divide by 1000. Same thing you do here. $3 means what? Which column? $3 means which column? It is which column? 0, 1, okay, 2. So $3 means which column? 0, 1, 2, 3. It means which column? You are talking about the fourth column. You take the fourth column. And what? Multiply with 100. You are going to get some results. Then substring you are taking. $0 means what? You are taking the first columns and taking the first character from that column. You are taking the first character. From that column, that is 0 to 1. And then you are doing what operation? $6 means what? You are taking the 7th column and you are going to subtract the value of 7th column with what? With the column of 4. So what are the value you are getting in 7 and what are the values you are getting in the 4th column? Both will be subtracted and result you are going to store. You are going to store into this relation called as what? Calculations. You are going to store result here only. Now you tell me, here there is no schema. Schema is not defined. Then how pig will automatically detect the schema? Based on your data. You see here, you are giving 1000. 1000 means what? It is integer number. So therefore this column, that is 8 column, is what? 8 column is having what data type? Data type is integer. By default, the pig will identify. You see here, this one, we have $3 means 4th column, and multiplying with 100. It means if any number you multiply with 100.0, it means that it is what kind of data types we have? We have a double data types. What data types? It is a double data types. So the pig will say that it is a double data type. Coming to substrings, if you see substrings, it is what data types? It is the called as character array. What data types? It is a character array data types. Okay. If you come into this one, it has some confusion because in this column number 7 and column number 3, you may have integer to integer, you may have float to float. So which one you are going to prefer? In this case, the pig will go for precision. It going to select the float as a data type. It means that the pig has a capability to find the schema based on your input, based on the data which is given by the user. This capability who is having? The pig is having. Even though we are not defined any schema, but pig is able to detect the different data types what you are having. Okay. So you see here, if you have $7, 8 column, what you are giving? 1000. 1000 means integer number. So definitely the column number 8 is having what data type? It is having the integer data types. You see here, $3 means the fourth columns. You have what? Multiply with the 100.0. So it is having what? It is having the double data types. You see here, substring means what? It is having the character array data types. And if you see here, what is it? Is a floating data types. So this capability who is having? Who is having? The pig is having. That's why the pig is not worried about the schema. Whether the schema is there or schema is not there, it's okay. But definitely, I will recommend you as a good pig-Latin programmer, we need to specify the schema. If you specify the schema, it is well and good, it is well accepted, it is advisable, it is recommended. So what we have to use? What we have to use schema. But if you not use schema also, the pig has no problem. It will take by default, it will going to detect the schema and going to work on it. That's why the pig is not worried about schema, and for the pig, schema is not mandatory. But optionally, we can go for schema, or it's recommended to have schema also. So here, now we are going to see the, if you want to see the result on the screen, what are you going to write? You are going to write dump KLC. This is name of the relations. Name of the relations. So if you are going to dump KLC means what? You are going to see, you see the result on the screen, but result is not stored. You can see only result on the screen only. Okay, and the next classes, next sessions, we are going to study details about the operators which is used in the pig-Latins. So in pig-Latins, they use different types of operators, and that we will discuss in the next sessions. Okay. So thank you very much for your cooperations.